family, welcome back to my space. Or you maybe permit me to get into your space this very wonderful day. A quick one. How are we all doing? I think the trends in Africa right now, or the trends in Nigeria specifically, or around the globe in general, it's kind of bustling or something. But and I believe we all are doing fine. That's the most important part anyway. So yeah, either way, either you wanna make me come into your space or you come into my space. Either way, I just appreciate everyone for being around once again. It's a privilege that we can somehow drop something in your minds, and somehow we can also get feedbacks from whatever we're trying to dish out to people, dish out to people anyway. Yeah. So now we're talking about Timè. That's my own quirky kind of translation for time. Yeah, time, the Martin time. But we're talking about Timè. I call it Timè, maybe with some apostrophe or something. Time. What's the essence of time in man's life? Okay, what's the essence of time in what? Let's say we're anticipating something to happen. We're expecting that there's an innovation somewhere that's going to really change people's life from I will continue to emphasize on what this wonderful guy, the guy that wrote from 0 to 1, the guy that wrote it, Peter Thiel. I will constantly emphasize his concept of development, whereby basically there's nothing on ground, but just voila, like in a minute, you just see something transformatory, and its growth, its effect on its users, its productivity level, it's unmeasurable. There's no comparison to what it could be or it could do. Time, Timè. That's my own quirky. Just to add a little spice to what we're trying to do. Timè. Yeah, I think that should be cool with you anyway, or cool with us, if you might permit us to do that. Yeah. So, how does time really has effect in the way products are being released, and the way companies or some group of nerds or Jedis in some garage somewhere located, I don't know, wherever places may be, trying to tinker or tangle with some little things in trying to make stuff happen, in trying to probably extend a further hand into a creative space and bringing an imaginative reality into existence. When fellas or dudes or smart people do that, what's the effect of time in that? Because there's a time span from when something is not in existence and when it's in existence, when there's no innovation of that form and suddenly there's an innovation of that form in existence. Time. Just time. I'm still wondering how time could really be an evident tool in changing the things we want to see around us. I might do a little deep dive into how Midjourney started. Midjourney, I think you might have heard something like that. Midjourney, one of the profound AI startups in terms of generation of images and sort of that category. Midjourney. I think its co-founder is Joseph Holtz, I guess. David something Holtz. That guy really went through a whole lot just to prove a concept. We're kind of abstract in its context, but the real effect of what he was trying to do cannot be measured. Fantastic story, if you might want to read it up. Fantastic story. How Midjourney through some tinkering was able to bring something out, though not accepted by the populace, not approved by supposed investors, as we might call them. Yeah, there's a little bit of, okay, they don't understand what some plate, they don't understand the concept or the context to which, or the value to which an innovation has underneath. So it's just overlooking tough stuff. But Mid-Journey really did something spectacular. I mean, I'm not really just concerned about the company itself. I'm concerned about the individual behind the company, the team behind the company, the individual specifically, the founder itself. Mid-Journey. That's David Holmes. This guy went from, I think, roughly around 20 years of underground work on trying to build product around the same circle, maybe a little bit extensive, far away from the concept, but still, if you consider the concept of a boomerang, whereby you shoot something and it still goes around a particular circumference or a circle. So that kind of notion, all it did was still centered around building something that is transformational, building something that really has impact on its users. And I think he basically learned one of this concepts from Alan Kay. I think one of the best, I believe to be one of the best, one of the greatest computer scientists we have in this present age and time. I think I believe to be the founder of UI, GUI, graphic user interface. Great guy, wonderful guy. And this man said to Halt, all you've got to do is focus really deep on how the user learn from the product you build. What's the learning rate? What's the learning perception? What's the how does the user learn? Let's say I'm using a product, or you give a child a game to play. There are patterns of learning. If you were to map it out, you could see some pattern of learning to which how that child is rumbling through that game. How he's trying to figure stuff out. If you could map everything out particularly, you'll see some strange pattern of learning. And Alan Kay pointed this out to Halt. Man, you've got to do this to really aim on building a great product or building a great company which is going to last through time sustainably. It has to pass this test of user understanding the way the user learns or use the product. So time really has a profound effect on any great company that's going to exist. Time. You can't just wake up to say you want to build something fantastic. You can't just wake up from some nightmare and say you want to just build something that really has impact. Let's say we talk about Africa. Africa is doing pretty cool, pretty good, I'll tell you. I mean, we've seen some real change around the nations. I think the investment rate, the VC, as regards investment, VC aspect right now in Africa, pretty much it doubled last year, in the last quarter. But we're talking about real change. Yeah, Africa is growing, I'll tell you that, from lots of data and stuff I could point out. Because the rate of investment right now, if you go through to Kenya, if you go through to Rwanda, if you check out Johannesburg, that's South Africa, or you check out Egypt, and specifically Nigeria, I mean, these are good places. If you check these different regions out, you find something spectacular. I mean, people are really trying to figure things out through emanating technologies, through the influx of great innovations. People are trying to, okay, what can we build from this? What can we do? But I'll tell you something really quick, and we should take note of this, that no innovation is going to come to bear if we just woke up from some dream and say, okay, let me just build this to test the possibility within. No, it's not going to work that way. It has to go through time, and time, I think, is the best test of what's going to be sustainable over a long period of time. Because there must be some baggage of experiences. You might have gone through some interactions with people. You might have gone through some discussions to be able to solidify your concept. Yeah, you might not be outspoken of the original idea, but as you begin to execute daily, as you begin to execute per term, you understand that all you do must be tweaked a little bit, just to adjust to the very final goal to the very final ideation, to the very final thing you say you want to build. And time is the very they call it filter. I think in chemistry, right? They call it filter. The chemistry guys out here, they call it filter, I guess. So this kind of filter test or something. So time is the very filter that any company can use, or any individual trying to build stuff that really change life. Time, I think, is the best filter to evaluate its possibilities or evaluate how best it could impact its users. Yeah, user needs might vary per time. In the last 10 years, I doubt if you'd release an AI product that could do something profound as it's doing right now, text to image generation or something. I doubt if you'd release that 10 years ago, it would have the same impact it's having now. There are time spans for stuff, there are time duration to which some things will have profound effect on the life of the user. There are time stamps for that. But if someone just woke up and say, okay, I'm gonna just try this thing, try my luck, there's nothing like luck, I'll tell you that. There's nothing like luck. It has to go through some, you as a founder or something has to go through some playing around with a product you're trying to build, just to test some stuff out. Yeah, it's not, you don't expect it to work, but you're hoping that the learnings you get from whatever thing you're trying to build is concrete in reshaping or forming the next thing you're trying to build to really have ground effect in the grand scheme, So time really has effect in that regard. Time. When you consider a few of great startup, I'll tell you from the startup Halt's built, that's David Host, with Smith Johnny, to even OpenAI. OpenAI was an underground project from 2018-2019. And within the span of these guys have been working on the ground for a few times. So you only need a little bit of investment or something here or there, or just some little push to get into the general public. But the story of David Holt has a really ground effect of several experiments, several procedures, several playing around to really get to the concrete of, okay, at this very time, this is the best thing to release to change things in a more profound way. But also we should take note that there's a role of the parent. Let's say we're trying to make sure that across Africa there are teenagers who could really do stuff that change things. Across the world there are people who are really interested in trying to make things work across various regions, across stratas or level of status. There are people who think that the world needs to be in a particular way, in a particular form, and because it's not there, they go underneath they go underground, or they go to the very baseline to begin to work things out, to begin to think out their way through. Okay, how do I get these things I'm thinking right now to reality? There are people that do this. There are lots of people that do this. But now, there's a role the parents play in getting this thing to reality, because sweep through Africa. Just take a quick glance from the north of Africa. Yeah, precise. Not just Nigeria right now. Africa in general, from the north. Check through the west, check to the east. There's a common play you find. There's a common picture you imagine, which is there are lots of kids out there, and only by chance do you find this kid doing something worthwhile. Only by chance or by providence do you find this kid outside doing something that's really useful, really profound. But once the parents or whoever in control of that child's decision or actions are really interested in what that child does, and because of the love they've got for that child, they want to really impact him in a way of taking him to places where he's going to learn, taking him to places where he's going to really maybe have a change of perception of the way things are. I believe somehow we are really going to go a step further in doing great stuff, because time is always going to tell on us. Time is always going to tell us. And time is a very concrete filter to which every experience matters. Yeah, we might say we're working, we're trying to do stuff. But when it's filtered through time, through a span of 10 years, through a span of decades, through a span of 50 years, at that 50th moment, does it really make sense? Does it really has value when it's been severed? Does it really has value? And the value we will bring on the table when it's straight through time, if it doesn't have value, then we're still point zero, we're still ground zero. We've not really moved to ground one. And it takes really profound work, really lots of effort to say we want to move from nothing to something. And we can start from the very basics, as guardians, as instructors, as teams, or as companies, or as people really interested in building stuff. We can start from that level of, okay, I don't want to see things go wrong, and take a personal responsibility of making sure those around us are coordinated in the right direction. Parents, guardians, whoever we are, will take the sole burden of making sure that people around us are focused on the best things of the world, in which they can really have effects on people's life. My wish someday is that people, teenagers, children, can walk the streets of Africa, can walk the streets of Nigeria, can walk the streets of South Africa, or can walk the streets of Morocco or something, and they are happy, not just happy, but satisfied within, that they've been able not just to change their life as well, but change the life of those around them. Children, I'm talking about teenagers, because there's no limit to what we can do. There's no limit to how far we can really transform things. It all starts from the work we put into things. It all starts from making sure we do something, making sure we take the first step of action, making sure we take the first leap of faith, as everyone might put it into context. Before take a leap of faith. And I believe that if you can do that, I think we'll go a long way in changing a lot of things. But remember, time is a great filter to which, if we say we're working on ground stuff, if we say we're working on life-changing product, if we say we're working on innovative stuff, time is the greatest filter to evaluate the productivity of which we anticipate. Time is the greatest filter, and that should be a base ground knowledge to which we all must have as founders or as great minds trying to work things out. Timè or time should be the very reason we wake up and in the snap of a moment, okay, let's get this thing running, let's get this ball rolling. We shouldn't sleep, we shouldn't be idle doing nothing, So yeah, back to it again. Time is the greatest thing we could have done. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate you for sticking around. It's kind of long. This is a false one, but it's cool you stuck around. You stayed long enough. I really appreciate it. But I believe the very message we're trying to pass across is really hitting the right. I hope we're really hitting the nail on the head, on the right spot. Whereby we could really do stuff. Whereby parents, everyone could really do great stuff in changing things around this place. So yeah, thank you very, very much for sticking around. Cheers.